Hello, hello, my children. How are you? What? Why would I say that? Hi, everybody. Hello and welcome to everyone who's joining. So lovely to see you all. And oh my goodness, thank you already, Otheus Rex, for the tip. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And look at that cute. I don't think I've seen that sticker thing before of the. Is it a pear with some coffee? I could use that. Thank you. Thank you to the pear with the coffee. Oh my goodness, who else do we have here? We've got Fleecils, good morning. Friday Wiggly, hello. Just ready to party. Woo! Woo! Well, here we go. Get ready for some parties. I've got a nice tall thermos of cold water to drink. Just what you need for a fun time. Fleecil says, I'm ready to just go home. I have 3 hours left. I want to relax with tonight without my daughter and no schoolwork to really do. Ah, relax. You remember relaxing? Yeah, that. Mackenzie's here. Hello, Mackenzie. Good to see you. Rachel Sills, as the chat scrolls. Rezel is here. Rezel's game was moved to Sunday. I'm delighted to be on the stream. I'm delighted to have you. I'm glad that you're here. Obviously, a bit of a pain in the neck whenever a game has to move, but hey, now we can spend some time together chatting about whatever. I was thinking we might talk about Paris is Burning. I don't know if you all noticed, I have a new Culture Cruise video up this week about Paris is Burning. So, oh, pardon me. I thought we might discuss that and some of the things that I didn't manage to put in, some stuff that I had researched and just didn't have room for, and the things that I've just kind of got on the back burner and didn't slip in there, so to speak. Let's bring the classical music up a little bit more. Let's see. There we go. Not too loud. Nice to have a little classy note in the background. There we go. It's pretty quiet. Let me know how those levels are working for you. Ah. Let's see. Oh, Rachel Sills is Fleecil's sister. Hello. Hello to Rachel. Yay, lovely to see you and the whole Sills entourage together. How nice. What's up? This is Bob. And Otheus Rex is here. Hello, beautiful. Oh, well, hello. Oh, well. Peter Shriver says hi. Hello to Peter Shriver. And, oh, Otheus Rex, another tip. My goodness, this generosity. Talk about Bat Boy. My first production I was involved in, loved the music. Was that, where were you in Bat Boy? Because as I recall, in 1999, maybe it's a little bit later, maybe 2000 or 2001. I was in Boston. I remember. I feel like it was having its debut, its premiere. It's like off on the road tryouts. I don't remember. I feel like Bat Boy started in Boston. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe that was just my understanding at the time. I think someone from my school, from Emerson College, I think someone from my school was in like that version of it, but I'm trying to remember something from 20 years ago. I know virtually nothing about Boy. Clearly, less than nothing. I may just know incorrect things about Bat Boy. Jordan asks, "Are there going to be fireworks?" Oh my god! I'll tell you what. Too much fireworks. I mean, like all through the night last night. I don't know if they're even fireworks, just like explosions, and we've had kind of enough of that. I feel like here where I live on Capitol Hill in Seattle, I'm ready for some like quiet nights. So I'd love that. I'd love some quiet. That's what I would enjoy. The most I am willing to take is from Aaron Thor, the emoji stars and rainbow explosions, rainbow stripes. That I like. That I like. Let's have some sparkling rainbows instead of fireworks. That's what I'd enjoy. Some nice, quiet, sparkling rainbows. Timothy the Wolf, great to see you. Hello, hello. How are things? Dean Willis, of course, hi. Simon Lane is here, and Uncle Deadly. Great to see some friendly, familiar faces. Giant Robots Conquer the World says, good morning. It's an ominous name. So, just a nice, friendly good morning from Giant Robots Conquering the World. Honestly, they'd probably do a better job. Hello to Tomer Levy. Good to see you. How are things over in England? That's where you are, right? England? Am I misremembering that? I don't think I am. I think you're in England. But then I don't want you to be offended if you are not. Thomas V says, hey girl, hey, hello. Aaron Thor says, haircut looking sharp. Not at all. No, it has been far too long. I don't know, you probably can't see on this terrible lighting situation we have, but I've got some really gross back of the neck growth that I desperately need a haircut, but I refuse to get one because I'm afraid. Jeffrey Mussman is here. Hello and howdy. Aaron Thor has some lovely. Oh, the hearts are so good. The hearts are so good. The rainbow hearts. Norman Wilcold says happy 4th. Rezel says Matt looks a tad tired. I was up late last night. We were working on some new projects that don't really have anything to announce yet, but we're working on what they're, the broad strokes on some new stuff. So maybe 4 hours of sleep last night. So, that's very healthy. But also, it's nice to have like some sleepy energy right now because it's keeping me. Something that I've noticed on these live streams is I tend to like just run a mile a minute and talk real fast. So I'm trying to like talk a little bit more calmly and have some calm energy. Calm. So that's what I'm trying to do for you all today. Because I think I just watched Lindsay Ellis's new video, and it's something that I noticed about it. It's about Titanic. Something that I noticed about it is that she has a less. It's not like it's low energy. It's certainly not that. But it doesn't feel as like urgent, I guess, as some of her more recent stuff. I mean, what could be less urgent than a hot take on a 20-year-old movie that, there's not a ton of new stuff to say about. Anyway, so, I want to have some laid-back, calm vibes. One of my neighbors, I just heard clippers turn on. I think one of my neighbors is giving himself a haircut on his balcony. I feel kind of gross about it. I don't want his hair in my plants. Anyway. Tired means old, and rested means you have collagen. Okay, I like that, Mina. That is a good way to look at it. We're all a little tired. It's just some of us have had injections. Good morning to Raphael. Hello. Hope everyone's having a great one. Hello to you. Uncle Dilly says, are there facts about Bat Boy? There are. Well, I mean, kind of. There's facts about Bat Boy the musical. Literally to the point, is it even a musical? Bat Boy... Yes, the title is Bat Boy the Musical. So let's assume it has music. John Matthew says, Mr. Gay Belgium is still going to take place this year. Oh, well, in person? I mean, I guess that could be all right. If, like, are they doing... So I guess the two questions are, is it safe to get together in Belgium? Like, is Belgium just, like, reduce their cases? And the other question is, if not, are they gonna keep everyone far apart? Because that's what they should do. Bomb says, I saw Bat Boy in New York in 2001. It was off-Broadway. I even have the soundtrack album. Is it good? Oh my gosh, Flea Sills. There's been fireworks here for a month non-stop. Oof. Woof. I mean, same here. There's been loud noises of various types. For over a month, and while I certainly am in support of people making loud noise in support of an important cause, when it's just like, hey, I got something that makes a loud noise, I'm going to set it off at 2 a.m. because I just think that's fun. Not into it. Not into that. KT says, have you gotten good feedback on Paris is Burning? Yes, I'm glad that you loved it, KT. Yes, some great feedback. Lots of lovely folks have left some very positive comments. And yeah, I'm learning a bit in the comments as well. From this is one of my favorite things. When I put up a video, people tell me stuff I didn't know, or they share stuff that they like. A lot of people have shared that Ask a Mortician video about the mummy in the closet. I have a little link to that in the video itself. Maybe I should put that in the description. But yes, we can certainly talk about that, the mummy in the closet. Timid welcomes the robot overlords. Honestly, same. Othia says, it's hard to find videos of Batboy. I really like the original female lead played by Caitlin Hopkins. Yes, you're in England. You are a Londoner. Well, that's very England. Hard to get more England than London. Is there anything more British than London itself? I'm not like asking that rhetorically. I'm just curious. Like, is there something that's like more of an icon of England? Like, for example, I'm in Seattle. Seattle's kind of, when people think of Washington State, they think of Seattle. They seldom think of Olympia, which is our actual capital. So I'm curious if there's any part of England that people think of more than London when they think of England. But that's where all the Big Bens and stuff are. I don't know how many there are. There's a lot of Big Bens in London. Maybe Matt is living his vampire fantasy. Ooh, well, I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to a vampire fantasy. Gibson Del, oh dear, I'm Del Gudice? Probably mispronouncing that like I do to everything. What a fantastic library. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you like it. Something I've been thinking about is having a more natural setting where it's like my actual, I mean, like, obviously, this is just a green screen behind me. I don't know if I can I turn it off or not? I don't know how to turn the green screen off. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's just a green screen behind me. I was thinking it might be nice to have like my actual like workspace and stuff. It's just that it's kind of a mess. And also, like I think like most people, I have like personal stuff in my workspace. Like, I don't know, what kind of personal stuff do I have there that I'm so concerned about? I guess pictures of my family and, that kind of thing. Othia says my favorite songs from it. You can find Home for You, There. Wait, is it Home for You There? Bedroom House, Part of Your Heart, Apology to a Cow? That's a great title. Yeah, to do a culture cruise and to really talk about it, I need to see video, which it sounds like is kind of hard to come by. Fleet Seals has watched Fiddler on the Roof a whole bunch of times. Ooh, that does sound good. Which version? It's the Zero Mostel version? I actually don't know if there's any other version. Yeah, Uncle Diddley, the false pigeon, will take the errant hare for their nest. We do. Just before I started, we had both the false pigeon and a different false pigeon, the crow. We had a Steller's jay on the balcony taking peanuts, and a crow that seemed to want the peanuts for itself. Pretty sure it's a female, the crow that we've got. I can't remember. Oh, because of its nesting behavior. I've been watching it nest across the street. Tomer says, I was so excited to see Jenny Olsen comment on your Paris video. Huge inspiration for me as a curator. Isn't she great? She is... Jenny Olsen, for those of you who are not familiar, does some really important film history work, really important force in queer history community. So, yeah, I was really happy to see her watching the premiere of my latest Culture Cruise. I guess this is another question for everyone. I've been doing the Culture Cruises as premieres lately. With Paris is Burning, I scheduled it. Basically, I put it up an hour in advance. Hey, it's going live in an hour. Come watch live. And that seemed to go over well. Like, almost 200 people came to join for that, so that was good. Let me know how you're liking that arrangement. Jenny Maurer is here. Happy 4th. Happy 4th to you. Bob says, Batboy's amazing. It's a tongue-in-cheek musical based on a character from Weekly World News. I mean, what a concept for a musical. Rizzle says, I'm kind of on the crossroads right now. Last time I told you about the guy I started dating. It's my first. I'm really motherly, and I'm so afraid to blow it if I will seem clingy or anxiousness. That is... God. The buzzing has gotten really intense. Yeah, so I mean that's always a concern. Like, am I paying too much attention or not enough? I mean, and I think the best way to address that is just to ask and be like, is this too much? Am I giving? Am I? Am I bothering you? Can kind of be an annoying question in itself, but do you like the attention I'm giving you? Like, that's a good question to ask, just to check in with somebody. Don't put too much pressure on every relationship and be like, this has got to succeed, this has got to work. Because, all relationships end eventually, except the ones that don't. A lot of relationships, part of the success of the relationship is figuring out what relationship is best for the two of you. And that may not be dating, or it might be, who knows? But, don't be like... don't basically wrap up all of your self-worth in the relationships that you have, because you are important too. London with a teacup watching Doctor Who on the BBC, says Giant Robots Conquer the World. That's pretty British. Tomer says London is not very British. We tend to feel kind of detached from the rest of the country. Oh. Miguel is here. Hi from Mexico City. Hello to Miguel. I don't know if y'all can hear all that noise. What the hell is going on out there? Now it's starting to turn into like, it sounds like a circular saw, like somebody's doing carpentry. Kitty says, I recently purchased the Criterion Collection. Oh, the remastered Paris is Burning. Lots of extras. I know, those delete. Oh my god, there's so much. So I didn't use any of that stuff because, and maybe I should have. Maybe I should have. For one thing, it's just hard for me to grab stuff from Blu-ray. Like, I'm not 100% sure the best way for me to do that, because Blu-ray is so copy protected. So I might I'm not even sure how I would like grab the footage to include. But I also wanted to focus on the stuff that was actually put out to the public, and not, the stuff that was hidden away. Will we make a video about the other LGBT riots before Stonewall? A lot of people don't know about them. That would be interesting. I made a quick one, but you're good at in-depth videos. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, I don't do a lot of just like history. Usually it's around pop culture, but that is certainly something I could talk about. That might be something to talk about in the context of The Boys in the Band. Because that was right around the same time. Like, the play happened, the riots happened, the movie happened, all those things together. That might be a good way to talk about the riots that happened first, then Boys in the Band being like a pretty important milestone for queer culture, and then Stonewall really changing everything. Speaking of vampire fantasy, have you watched The Lair? No, what is The Lair? Fleesills watches Doctor Who while drinking a Doctor Who tea out of a Doctor Who cup. That's fantastic. And hello from Paris is Thomas RV. Bonjour. Thank you for joining. That was a very American pronunciation. Del Judas. It's pronounced... Is that how it's pronounced in Italy? No. Is that how our family has heard it since Ellis Island? Okay, sure. Gibson Del Judas. Best part of England is Hadrian's Wall. Only joking, just a wee Scottish joke. Oh, David. The question I had after watching Paris is Burning is, how do cultural anthropologists research study outside of their own ethnicity culture? I mean, that's something that's changed very much over centuries of studying other cultures. Currently, I think there's a lot more emphasis on including, first-person accounts from that culture itself. So that did not exist, decades earlier. And basically providing resources to people in those communities to do their own documentation. So, for example, with Paris is Burning, Jenny Livingston, who made the documentary, got a bunch of grants and research and resources and stuff to make her, her take as kind of an outsider, but in quotes, because she knew a lot of the people. She was friends with them. She'd known them for years. She'd been going to ballrooms, so she wasn't exactly like a stranger. But that having been said, there's probably a different project to be made in turning the camera over to people who are in that scene, and providing them with education resources about how to make a documentary, and having them make something. That having been said, that would have been like, for something that was insanely difficult to get any money to make in the first place, making it with that added twist of, we're giving authorship over to people who don't even know what they're doing. Not that they don't know what they're doing, but people who don't know how to make a film, who haven't done that before. I mean, that would have made it even harder to make Paris is Burning. So it's a challenge, is what I'm saying. Gotta go see us, says Mackenzie. Thank you for joining. Glad you could make it. Mina says the same way. Yes, the same way study anything. Surely experiencing something personally is never a requirement to studying something. I mean, so yeah, I think you can study for sure, but giving primacy to the voices in the thing that you're studying, I think, is important. So it doesn't come off as, the thing that we make fun of often when people are, when anthropologists find like evidence that someone was in a same-sex relationship in history, and they're like, we can never know exactly what their relationship was. Look at these very good friends. Maybe they were cousins. Oh, his assistant. And it's just obvious to queer people that, like, no, they're just, like, gay for each other. They're just super, super gay. And that's it. And so, that often happens when straight researchers look at, I don't know, King James. And I like the King James example because his boyfriend, I'm not exactly sure what he was, his lover, he gave him the title Gentleman of the Bedroom, and they had, if if I'm recalling correctly, I'm pretty sure this is correct. They had a like secret passageway connecting their bedrooms. So like, okay, okay. Kitty Mommy says there's a Jenny Olsen interview on those DVDs I mentioned. Yes, there is. Jenny Olsen's so great. Jenny says, what books have you been reading lately? I've been reading an Elmore Leonard collection. Oh, that sounds good. Elmore Leonard, great. I've been reading, so 2 books that I'm like switching back and forth between. One is just called Gay Seattle, and it's about the history of gay Seattle, obviously. And another, oh my goodness, this really paints a picture of me, doesn't it? The other is Gay New York, which is about gay New York from the late 1800s up to the 1940s. So those are the 2 I'm bouncing back and forth between. I'm singing along to the music that I don't even know you can hear. Cannon Bryce says, yes, you take great caution not to frame it within your own culture and to consider it as some sort of Star Trek episode studying the others. It's very hard not to, especially when you belong to a very dominant culture. What's the opposite of subculture? A superculture? I definitely don't want to call it that. But to treat whatever your dominant culture is as the default and the neutral position and like, oh, well, we're looking at this as, for example, straight cis white men. And that's just neutral point of view. And it's not. That's a real political point of view. So, anyway, what point am I trying to make? I guess recognizing that you are coming to whatever you come to from a point of view that is not the default, even if it feels that way to you, even if it's been your personal default. Rezel says, all the previous times, in previous relationships, were men manipulating my naivety. I was going to say nativity. They were not manipulating your nativity. Naivete, for different things. I guess that's just one of those words I can't say out loud. Just breaks in my head. This guy's the first one that's genuinely interested in me after I came out 2 years ago. So that's great. Just enjoy that. Feel nice about that. That is really good. Congratulations, even for, finding a relationship that makes you happy, because that's not something everybody, manages to do. Giant Robots Conquer the World says, I'd enjoy that approach to history / boys in the band. Okay. Pride Month might be the time for me to talk about that, so I might, hold that for another year or so. But I also really want to talk about it, so I might hold it or I might not. Tell me about your favorite classical pieces or better composers if you know them. You are asking me for information I don't have. I'm trying to think of a classical composer that I like. Here's what I like. This piece of information that isn't true about Mozart, that when he composed, he needed to have hundreds of ladybugs crawling up and down his hands and arms in order to compose. It isn't true, but it's a great myth about him that I can't remember who started it. Was it John Hodgman that started that? I think it's in one of John Hodgman's books as an example of how memorable stories that are untrue are often much more memorable than stories that are true. Bob says The Lair. Oh, The Lair is a spinoff of Dante's Cove, both series from Here TV about a gay sex club secretly run by vampire witches. Oh, I like that. That does sound good. Vampire witches. Okay, I'm really into that. James Polk says, hello, Matt, and all not worth noticing, but any thoughts on SpongeBob's Apparent coming out? I mean, that's, apparent to whom is the question there, because what was it? Nickelodeon just had some, Happy Pride thing that they featured SpongeBob on. Is there more to it than that? Because that's all I've seen. But Otheus Rex is the King James secret passageway was in the rear. Oh, how dare you. Jerome says, the Lair's acting was pretty bad, but Dante's Cove wasn't much better. Still enjoyable in those days. Oh, and Jenny's read Gay New York too. It's great, isn't it? It's so, it's taking me so long to read because I just keep stopping and taking notes on stuff I want to research. Russell says he was always asexual, and it's so funny how the bigots think that it's the LGBT agenda. Oh, SpongeBob? Yeah, it's such a weird example that asexual is lumped into LGBT, and I get that it's a subculture and it's been marginalized and all that. but it's also kind of like awkward to be like, yes, asexual, a member of, asexuality is a sexuality, which I guess, everything depends on how you define your terms. Is asexuality, or is asexuality a form of sexuality or lack thereof? Bob says, I agree about the shifts in ethnographic strategy. As an anthropologist myself, one of my specialties are folklore and emancipatory research. Whoa, that sounds really interesting. Using ethnographic techniques in pursuit of social justice. Whoa. I mean, I was just this morning reading about, that unfortunate dome outside of Atlanta, and of course, what's happening in South Dakota right now. Land that was defaced by the United States and also did not actually belong to them. Rachel says, I just came out to my family that I'm bi this past week and everyone has been supportive. That is fantastic. Congratulations, Rachel says. That is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with the chat. Thank you for coming out to us. That is awesome, and I'm so happy for you. What a great feeling when people are like, yeah, cool. Videodrum says, provided most of us are here in one... Well, yeah, sure, yeah. I can talk about Paris is burning, gosh. I can talk about the boys in the band next year. Right, most of us are here. Tomer says, I'd love to hear more about boys in the band. Maybe mention the protests against the premiere from the Gay Liberation Front. Yes. That's going to be a tough one because there's not a lot of, footage or even news coverage. Well, let's even see. I'm just going to go to newspapers.com, which I highly recommend. It's, it's not free. It's like $75 a year. But, and I use it pretty much exclusively. My exclusive use of it is for Culture Cruise. But sometimes, there's other fun stuff to research. Just the other day, I was like, I wonder what, early articles about Dungeons and Dragons looked like. Anyway, let's see. Boys in the band. We're going to see if there's any coverage from 1967. Let's see. There is. Oh. But most of it is not about the musical. The play. Here's one. Here's our headline. Boys State Band in Big Debut. Rolling Meadows Concert Band is sort of foster child of the Chicago Boys Club Band. Okay, so we're getting a lot of articles about boys and bands, but not the play. So let's narrow that down. And add Crowley to that. All right. Crowley is the name of the author. I'm going to limit that to 1968, which is when it actually opened. Oh, here we go. Here's some coverage for that. Okay. Lord, I don't know if y'all can hear, there's some fireworks happening outside, and I'm not into it. Defying Blueprint says, I've never heard that Mozart myth. I'll never forget it now. Isn't it great? It's so good. Oh, there's a gay LA book, too. Oh, that is fascinating. I'll have to look that up next. The most recent LA history book I read, was a couple years ago, was called Brown Acres. It's about the history of LA's sewers, which I find fascinating. I know a lot of people don't. I'm so happy that Hallelujah started playing as soon as I started talking about sewers. And again, I don't know if you all can hear the classical music in the background. But so anyway, I find sewers fascinating. This is just something that some people may not know about me. It's one reason why I called my podcast The Sewers of Paris, because I am obsessed with water management, and particularly urban water management. So I just find it endlessly fascinating, and I can talk forever about how sewers work, and nobody wants me to do that. But I just think it's very neat. Basically, the history of sewers is they made them too cheaply, and everyone got sick. And so they tried again, but they made it too cheaply again, and everyone got sick. It's just that history over and over and over. It's particularly bad in Los Angeles, where people are not conscientious about others. There was a period where, not Long Beach, what was it? Santa Monica. It was illegal to go to the beach in Santa Monica because it was so polluted. Fences up. You just do not go to the beach. You will get sick and die because they just dumped the city's raw sewage out onto the beach. And then they're like, oh, maybe we should dump this further out into the ocean. And so they tried that, but they cheaped out on the pipes. And so the pipes just broke and made it worse. Anyway, like I said, I could talk forever about sewers. Nobody wants that. Giant Robots Conquer the World says, my favorite example of, oh my goodness, they were gay, is Lady Eleanor Butler and her friend Sarah Ponsonby and their dog Sappho. Oh my god, they had a dog named Sappho. I love that. I want a dog named Sappho. That's so good. That's so good. I don't know anything about Lady Eleanor Butler. Tell me more about her and her friend Sarah. Benina says, I've been watching your channel for some time. Your discussion of LGBTQ plus representation in media throughout the decades are really informative. Thank you. I'm glad that you like them. Thinking one of the things we were talking about last night is ways that we could do more of that kind of thing. Othia says, do you prefer orchestral music or single piano? Anything vocal music? Just curious to make some recommendations. What about Vivaldi's Spring in the background? So here's the thing is when I'm working, often I'll put on video game music, like relaxing video game music. So a lot of like stuff from like Wind Waker, for example. Oh, and Rezel says, have you abused the Steam summer sale for some of your bestest games? I have not. There's one that I've been looking at. It's a meditation game called Rain, I think is the name. It's just a game about where like that helps you breathe slower. So I've been looking at that as a potential stream game, but obviously, you know, speaking of things nobody wants to see, is just me sitting there silently breathing. Just isn't it really creepy thing to stream. Tomer says, I saw a bit of silent footage for the Boys in the Band protest. Oh, I'll send it over if I can find it. Yes, please, send me that. Bob says, Henry Danger has always had gay subtext, and 3 of their villains recently came out. What? This week, in fact, Nickelodeon is airing all episodes featuring out-villain Frankie Grande. Well, okay, sure. How did the villains all come out at the same time? That's a strange and unexpected one. Videodrum says, I guess 30 Rock recently said they were about to take blackface episodes out of the show's streaming and Blu-ray releases. I hope they take the scenes, if nothing else. Usually, I don't remember those episodes too clearly. I usually prefer, like, a discussion. So, like, I think Warner Brothers did a good job with their cartoons here. A screen before it starts saying, like, acknowledging there's content that, is not representative of what we make today. Let's see here. Breaking some windows down. What have we got? Did the music stop? No, it just got very quiet. Bump you up, sure. Yander Supreme says you should look at the 1976 episode of the TV series Family called Rites of Friendship, one of the best early portrayals of a gay character. I have a very brief clip of that in my latest Culture Cruise about how families rejected their kids often, still do sometimes. And so anyway, I've got a clip from Family and another from Degrassi Junior High. Degrassi? I don't know. Torden's here. Hello, Torden. Gibson says, if you don't know about Victor Hugo's Tangent, oh yeah, on Les Mis, writes a huge joke about the sewers of Paris. Yep. I mean, I just want a musical that's all set in that setting. Sean says, I love sewers too, the first public health intervention. Good. I'm glad that we have other sewer fans here. Oh my goodness. Seattle's doing a really exciting project right now by the Ship Canal up north from us, where they're building some big overflow tanks so they don't have to dump sewage into the canal as much as they otherwise do. So they're digging a whole bunch of stuff up and putting tanks underground and channeling stuff to different water treatment facilities. Anyway. Bob says the ancient Romans had a goddess of sewers. What? Roman goddess of sewers? Cloacina? That is amazing. Or Cloacina, the cleanser, from the Latin verb cluo, to cleanse, and also from cloaca, sewer or drain. This is amazing. The goddess who presided over the cloaca, or cloaca, I guess it's probably cloaca. We say cloaca, right? That's how you pronounce it? The cloaca maxima? The greatest drain, the main trunk of the system of sewers in Rome, derived from Etruscan mythology. According to Roman creation myth, Titus Tatius, who reigned with Romulus, erected a statue to Cloacina? I don't know how to pronounce her name. As well as controlling sewers, she was a protector of sexual intercourse in marriage. Those two things together, oh my goodness. Despite her Etruscan origins, she became identified with Venus. Surnames of the goddess Venus, signifying Venus the Cleanser, derived from a statue of Venus, which stood at the place where the Romans and Sabines were reconciled, and where they purified themselves with myrtle boughs. Shrine of Venus Cloacina was situated before the Basilica Aemilia on the Roman Forum, directly above the Cloaca Maxima. Some Roman coins had images with her or her shrine on them. Huh. She's in a Terry Pratchett novel. And Rick Riordan? I don't know how to pronounce any of these things. These are things I've only ever seen written. I don't know how to say them. Trials of Apollo. Neat. It's also a genus of nematode. Let's see. Maybe a water infrastructure podcast is Jared. Maybe. I don't know that there's that much to say, and I don't know that it's that. I don't know. You know, one of the things we were talking about last night was what I can do to serve you, the viewer. You know, bringing things to audiences that they actually want to see. And I have a feeling that a podcast about sewage, like the weekly sewage news, I have a feeling that's not going to catch on. I don't think that's exactly what people want me to spend my time talking about. Oh, the music is so quiet, but we're get some nice tunes in the background. Uh-oh, it's getting louder now. Diego says, it's Matt Baum, love you so much. Oh, thank you. I love you too. The videos have helped me pass the time and get through the anxiety of quarantine and the social unrest in the world. Diego, I'm so pleased to hear that you are enjoying the videos and they're helping you feel relaxed. I mean, this is definitely something, after watching Lindsay's Titanic video, I'm really feeling like, can I just please maybe now do a relaxing video, a culture cruise about something a little more chill, and it's not all about, like, you know, smash the state and epidemics and all that. Not that those things aren't important, but sometimes it's nice to have something a little more relaxing. Like, let's just talk about the gay episode of Phyllis, for example. It sure isn't her. I wonder if they went cheap with sewers because they figured earthquakes would break infrastructure up anyway. No, Todd, I wish that was the case. Part of it is... So part of the thing is people being like, can't we just send this to where the poor people live? So there's that. And so there's a whole class and particularly race thing that gets tied up in that nobody wants to talk about, but it's true. And the other thing is, like, it's just gross. People don't want to think about it. And so they don't. And it's expensive. And people are like, oh, there's so many glamorous things we can spend money on. Why do we have to spend money on putting gross sewage underground? I want to be known as the person who, I don't know, made a beautiful garden, or something, you know, the politician who made it possible for my constituents to have this beautiful garden. Because ideally, when sewage is working, you don't notice it. Enough about sewage. Oh my God. Stop talking. Stop tricking me into talking about sewage. Franchini was always implied to be gay. Frankie Grande. In one episode, his henchman Goomer hooked up with a rival villain in order to make him jealous. What is this show? Hold on, I need to look this up. It has like hookups and stuff. Wait, what is the name of it? Henry Danger? Oh, it's live action. For some reason, I just assumed it was a cartoon. What is this? I know nothing about this show. Henry Danger. Blah, 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 blah. 13-year-old boy who lives in the town of Swellview. Part-time job is Kid Danger, sidekick of Captain Man. Tells Henry not to tell anyone about his job. Attempts to keep it a secret. Henry goes to a shop called Junk and Stuff, a secret lair where he does his work. Need someone to take his place when he's gone. Okay. That seems cute. 5 seasons. All right. Seems like it must have been good. I have literally never heard of it until now. Oh, no, Torden's... Your city just has big open pit for storm drain overflow. That's not how you do that. That's not good. Oh, no, that's not good at all. Otheus Rex recommends Debussy for that. Venus or Neptune. Oh boy, I'm not even going to try to pronounce some of these things. These are all very difficult to say. So, but Debussy. Am I pronouncing that right? Obviously, it looks like a very dirty name from our modern perspective. Yes, David, I know what a cloaca is also. I know what it is. Podcast about sewers would be a different audience than you have than now that you would also serve very well. Wait, so Canada Bry, I really respect your opinion when it comes to this kind of stuff because I know that like you have educated yourself and you are an expert on these kinds of topics. So I want to make sure I'm reading your comment correctly. I think a podcast about sewers would be a different audience than you have now that you would also serve very well. But what we're trying to do is unify the audience so that I'm serving the largest possible audience as well as I possibly can. And I don't doubt that that is an audience, a different audience that I could serve well. But it does seem... if I'm thinking intelligently about, we literally just last night, James and I were talking about This Is Marketing, the very important Seth Godin book. And yeah, I don't know that as a business, the Matt Baum output would be successful if it was trying to serve both of those audiences separately. All the law? Althala? I'm wondering if you will cover She-Ra and the Princess of Power. I've never seen so much LGBTQ representation from a kids show like that. That's a good idea. So I've watched a little bit. And I'm not sure. So while they have queer representation, do they talk about queerness on the show? Or is it just like there's a character who is queer, but they don't talk about it? Because often, you know, the stuff that I tend to cover on Sewers, on Paris is Burning, nope. The stuff that I tend to cover on Culture Cruise is usually stuff that is very directly related to queer, like the queer world or concerns around same-sex relationships or, you know, gender. Like, does She-Ra deal with gender? Do they talk about gender issues on the show? Or do they just have representation? It's one thing to talk about it, and it's another just to, like, have it happen. Giant Robot says, Eleanor Butler is kind of dull. I just like the denial because of the dog. Actual interesting historic figure is Julie Daubigny. She was obviously bi. Not even historians can deny her. Good. I'm glad they can't deny. Fleecil's gotta go. Have a great day. Thank you for joining Fleecil's. Lovely to see you as always. Video Drum says it's hard to review kids' media. I just tried to watch one episode of Invader Zim. You couldn't process. Well, that's a particularly challenging show, I think. Have you heard of Gimme Gimme Gimme? It's often touted as the first British sitcom to feature an openly gay main character. Yes, I am familiar with that one. I haven't watched a lot of it, but yeah, I do know the one. There's somebody important on that one, as I recall. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Oh, of course, it just wants to give me ABBA stuff. TV series. Blip, 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 James, maybe not. I could have sworn that one of the actors... Tom Farrell, played by James Dreyfus, was somebody, like, really significant. And not that he's not significant, but that he was, like, an important personality now. I must be thinking of something else. That song sounds amazing. Played a slower tempo. Oh, wait, which one? Oh, Gimme, Gimme, Gimme? The ABBA song? Played a slower tempo? It's hard to hum. Wait, I'm trying to hum. Gimme, gimme, gimme a man after midnight. Da 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 da. Nope, that turned into what's the song from Chess? Da 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 da. What's that song? Oh no, I can't remember the song. The one really poppy song from Chess. Oh well. One night in Bangkok. That's it. Andrew wants an episode about the Chicago Deep Tunnel Project. Why? You guys gotta stop encouraging me to do the sewers podcast. I don't need. It would be. Imagine how confusing this would be if I had a podcast about sewers and also a different podcast called The Sewers of Paris. That would be so baffling. Da, 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 da. And no sooner do I mention The Sewers of Paris than the French song starts playing. Cameron Bryce says, that is fair. Two different audiences is definitely harder. Yes, I mean, as it is, you know, I've got my Culture Cruise audience. There's Debrief, which we'll talk about. There's Queens of Adventure, and these things don't entirely overlap. And I definitely don't need to add like sewer buffs to my list of people that I'm like serving. But you keep sending me stuff. Bob says one of the superheroes on the animated series The Tick was a character called Sewer Urchin. Stop teasing me with sewer facts. The world of She-Ra exists and does not have prejudice, so sexuality just exists without comment, says Sim1198. That's what I thought. Yeah. Oh, and like Steven Universe, they don't make a big deal of it in the storylines. Yeah. Steven Universe, I do think, like, they don't make a big deal about gender and sexuality, but I do think the show is doing interesting things with gender and sexuality. You know, particularly like with Stevani being essentially non-binary without really talking about it. Oh, Julie Daubigny rode off with a highwayman as a young woman, got bored with him, started dating a young woman. That parents sent the girl to a convent. I do remember seeing, yeah, I remember reading about this. Staniel Grainstuffer, what a name. I wanted to say I really liked your recent video on Priscilla. It was totally fascinating. Thank you. I really enjoyed doing the Priscilla one. Important movie to me personally. Gimme 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 became Madonna's Hung Up. Oh, which one is Hung Up? I don't know that one. Alexi says, oh my goodness, recovering from a motorcycle crash. The nurse turned me on to your channel. Great content. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you to that nurse. Thank you to nurses everywhere, of course. And I hope that your motorcycle crash recovery is going comfortably. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that you went through that. That can't have been very pleasant. Giant Robot says, Dominic went to the convent with a freshly grave-robbed corpse and set a fire in the girl's room. She and the lady ran off together for a few months. I mean, this is just, it's bonkers that there isn't a movie about this person. Regarding She-Ra, says Bob, Bo has two dads, Spinnerella and Natosa, are married. Double Trouble is non-binary, and the pronouns they and they are used. Adora and Catra eventually kiss. What? Kissing? I like kissing. I was just looking, like, this is a totally separate conversation. I was looking at Tumblr and how it's changed since, you know, the whole porn purge, like 2 years ago now? Was it 2 years? No. Maybe it was. Anyway. And now there's been sort of a migration of a lot of Tumblr discourse to Twitter, and we see a lot more Twitter discourse that feels like the old style of Tumblr discourse. But that got me thinking about, like, the porn purge and how there's less, but it's still there, porn, and how something that's nice is I do see a lot of, like, not a lot, I see some kissing Tumblrs now that are like, okay, well, we're not doing gay porn, we're not doing, like, full nudity, we're just doing, like, GIFs of men kissing each other, and just, like, how nice it is. Like, I just want to flood people's timelines with GIFs of men kissing. That's all. I just think kissing is nice. It's probably because I miss it so much, not like, you know, just going out in public and kissing random strangers, but seeing, just seeing people in public being romantic. You know, I miss that. I used to go to, you know, there's a fetish night at Cece's around the corner, which is not exactly romance, but it can be. You know, and I just really miss seeing, like, really overt public expressions of queer sexuality. It's so important just to be able to see men and men hugging and kissing, and women, and non-binary people, and queer and trans people, and, you know, people of color, of course. You know, and I miss it. I miss it so much. Anyway, Diego says, I became privy to your Queens of Adventure podcast, and I love it so much. Yay! I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. Hooray. How did you find it? I know Alexi, not everyone can be recommended my work after being in a motorcycle crash. But I'm always curious, like, how people came to find my work. Like, where did you discover it? Oh, Raphael, I did see you DM me the video. The run through some riots before Stonewall. Thank you. I will definitely check that out. Jordan said the musical chess was written, yes, of course, by the folks from ABBA. There's some real good stuff in chess. We could do a whole other live stream about this. It's a good show that's got some problems. There's some parts where it drags, some parts where the story is like, is this the story? Is this a good story that we're telling? And some just great music. Nobody's Side is like one of my favorite songs ever. And of course, Anthem is beautiful. There's a concert version of chess that was, it's Idina Menzel and Josh Groban and some other folks. And it's really beautiful. And so they keep trying to fix chess, going back to the 80s, right? It was like early 80s, or maybe it was even the 70s. Hey Siri, when did chess debut? He's thinking. 1475, she says, talking about the board game chess. Hey Siri, when did the musical chess debut? 1475. 1986. Rezel says, I also recently realized the second Nightmare on Elm Street was gay as hell. Oh my goodness, is it ever? I do have a video about Nightmare on Elm Street 2, so check that out on my channel. Yeah, it is very gay. Torden says, I remember linking a young man a bunch of, cuddly cute gay couple tumblers, totally PG but adorable. You need the affirmation. That's so good, Torden. You are doing the Lord's work. Yeah, gosh, I hadn't thought about this until just now, but like, just how much I miss just being out in the world and seeing a gay couple holding hands, or being at a bar and seeing a gay couple like making out, or I don't know, going to. It's been a long time since I went to the clothing optional beach. I'm telling you all too much. There's a clothing optional gay beach in Seattle. It's been a long time since I went there, but I miss that. Twitter and New Tumblr are definitely where everyone migrated after Tumblr change. Oh, New Tumble. I don't like. Are people really on New Tumble? New Tumble. Is that really gonna be a thing? Like, I feel like there were so many things. There's so many like it's the new Tumblr that just totally failed to catch on. Yeah, Giant Robots Conquer the World says PG kissing content sounds so adorable and wonderful. Oh, Bob says, have you talked about Brothers? I have not talked about Brothers yet. I mean, that's another one that's tough because, I want to do it right, and that means doing, 3 or 4 seasons worth of episodes. It's a lot to watch. I remember the first gay character that I saw on TV was a Welsh learner program we used to watch in school. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. The gay guy that inspired me to come out at 15. Oh, wait, a Welsh learner program? So wait, like a language? Was it a language learning program? Oh, Diego said someone shared the Kickstarter video, and when I saw your face, I flipped. Oh, that's great. Yay, surprise, it's me. Yeah, Videodrome One Night in Bangkok was obviously 80s, yes. And yes, Hank Morgan, there was a musical called Chess that has never really been good. No, let me rephrase that. It's never been great. It's been good. It's never been great, and they keep trying to change it and fix it, and never seem to manage. Tomer says, speaking of Murray Head, it would be interesting to hear you talk about Sunday Bloody Sunday. Murray Head and Peter Finch, one of the first gay kisses in a studio film. Ooh. That would be interesting. Oh, Giant Robot said I got recommended your content by the dreaded algorithm. The algorithm does so much work. You gotta feed the algorithm. That's how it works. You gotta be like, hello, algorithm. I know. What do you like? You like, what's the algorithm like? This is an unfortunate thing. Another thing we were talking about the other day is how much the algorithm likes fighting, likes like takedown videos and angry stuff. And, I don't want to feed that. Oh, I made your Siri talk. Whoops, sorry. Sorry, I woke up everybody's Siris. Uh, yeah, Raphael says, I just miss seeing gays being in public. Yeah, Steven says, I can't tell if it's a real library or green screen. It's totally real. It's a totally real screen, as you can see. David says, clothing optional beach in Seattle, isn't it too cold for that kind of thing? You know, never underestimate the determination of a bunch of horny gays. We have hot days too. Like, let's see. I mean, it's pretty warm today. La 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 la. What's the weather gonna be in Seattle? Well, pretty chilly actually. Yeah, but no, we have days sometimes that get really hot. Not many. Oh, have you watched the doc on the main actor from Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream Queen? I haven't seen that yet. It was still getting made when I made my video about the movie. But yeah, the guy who plays Mark, I think, the guy who plays the last boy in that movie is he's really great. Rizzle says, gay couples that are safe should post cute photos on social media for Matt to feel the love in the air again. That is what I want. I want to see cute photos. I want to see cute gay photos. Oh, it was, so, okay, so I'm going to try to say it. Pamphidou? Pamphidou? Am I saying that right, Tom? Soap for teens in Welsh. There were lesson plans centered around it. Huh. Let me check that out. Pamphidou. Taking a peek. Okay, yeah, so it's like a high school. It's like Degrassi Junior High, but Welsh. Let's take a look here. I'm going to turn down the music for a moment, if I can find it. There you are. Oh, well, I was looking for on YouTube to see if there were like clips or something, but it looks like it just doesn't exist. You know, footage of it, video of it doesn't seem to exist. Wow, no results found on YouTube. That's wild. New Tumblr is definitely thinks as Raphael. It's way more adult than Tumblr. You have to post with a rating on the photo. GAX. Gax. Gay, own, and run. Amazing. Okay. Tomer says, Murrayhead isn't gay. I went to a Q&A with him. He was very clear in saying he's not gay, just open-minded. All right, well. Yeah, I'm not impressed when people are like, I just really need to clarify that I'm straight. And it's like, all right. I just Googled Murray gay. Murray head. Yeah, there he is. So singer, of course, of One Night in Bangkok. I was just curious if anything else. Oh, of course. JC Superstar. Of course. Yeah, anything else you know him from? A cold nude beach encourages cuddling. That's a good point. Brezel says we have no quarantine for a month anymore in most parts of Europe, so it's good. Very jealous of how Europe is handling everything. Yep. Sure would be nice. Sure would be nice if we were doing things. We were doing things correctly in this country. Oh well. Gibson says he was open-minded, not to talk out of school, but I know a dude who'd worked with him. Oh wow, that's awesome. In the early 70s, no reason to lie, who had an extended fling. An extended fling. Interesting. What does not gay, just open-minded even mean? It means that somebody doesn't want to get specific about their lives. And you know what? If somebody wants to be private, that's fine. I'm not going to say like everyone's life needs to be an open book and they owe us their whole life. Somebody doesn't want to be like really direct about, I don't know, you know, here's the full accounting of my sex life. That's fine. They don't have to. Mixtery's here. Good evening. Greetings from Belgium. Sorry I'm late. Hello. You're not our first Belgian to join the chat. We were talking about Belgium a little bit earlier. What were we saying? We were talking about Belgium. Was it International Mr. Gay? The International Mr. Gay contest, I think, is going to happen in Belgium. Tomer says, open-minded was his words, not mine. Okay. Well, that's just fine. Let me bring back the classical music because We're not going to be listening. Apparently, I was hoping we would have a chance to listen to. Oh gosh, too much noise. This is too much. Let me bring that down just a little bit. That's loud. What was I saying? Let's see here. Oh, I've got a lot of windows floating around. Phaedra says we didn't. Wait, we didn't what? That's why I'm celebrating the Quattrotine of July. What? The Quattrotine of July. I assume that means the 4th, but what is Quattrotine? Is that a musical thing? My first encounter with gay sci-fi, says Kevin, was Samuel R. Delaney's Trouble on Triton. Remember checking it out in my high school library, and the librarian said it featured polysexuality. Ooh. Jerome says, seems you have a lot of Belgian fans. I like Belgium. I spent very little time in it. So I was in Europe a few years ago in 2017. Spent only a very little time in Belgium. Where was I? Pretty close to the train. I just had like a quick like day trip. Didn't even like stay overnight. Yeah, met some lovely gays, and had a nice little time. And it's actually some pup curious gays in Belgium that I met, who wanted me to tell them all about pub culture. And I'm like, it's not really my world, but I mean, I guess I've written about it, and I hang out with pups, and so I know that world enough that I can tell you about it. So, good boy. Quattrotine is not a word, says Jorge. I didn't think so. Oh, quarantine. I see what you're saying. The Quattrotine of July. That's tough. That's tough to. Quattrotine 4th means quarantine. Yeah. That's a little slanty of a rhyme. It's not even a rhyme. Of a pun. Belgium gave us Hoover Phonic and Lords of Acid, so I'm a big admirer. Says Videodrome. Yeah, 4th and quarantine. Yeah, kind of works. Yeah, so I did just want to, let's see. Oh, James is up and around and prowling. He's the prowler. Hissing and prowling. So yeah, I did want to just like thank everyone once again for joining, and also for the suggestions about other stuff that I can cover for Culture Cruise. Always looking for stuff, and always happy to share, my thoughts on like ideas. I definitely, Brothers, that sitcom, definitely on the list of stuff to talk about because it's so groundbreaking and weird that like people don't remember it more widely. Drone says, Belgium also gave you Stromae. What are Stromae? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, better known by the statement, a Belgian musician, rapper, singer, and songwriter. I thought it was like a plural of some sort of dessert. Can I interest you in the Stromae? Stromae is apparently a Belgian musician. There he is. He's got a cute little mustache. Table Mold says pups are like small bears. Sometimes, I guess. I mean, those would be cubs, I think. Pups is in, pup play guys who, not only guys, but people who wear sometimes a pup mask or just role play as like woof woof. I'm a little dog. that whole thing. Woof woof, I'm a little dog. That's what they say. What else? I was just looking over like some of the other research that I didn't get to use for my Paris is Burning video. There's a whole thing of the documentary with the dancers that came out. What was it? It wasn't called Strike a Pose. Truth, was it Truth or Dare documentary? Yeah, it was. It's Truth or Dare is the documentary that they made. Dancer documentary is Yeah, for Blonde Ambition Tour. Oh my god, I have to like click through surveys before I can read about it, and ads are flying at my face. Strike a Pose is the name. Okay, yes. Strike a Pose, the documentary about the dancers from the Blonde Ambition Tour. Did just a little bit of research on them, but it, really wasn't a big part of like talking about Paris is Burning. So I didn't really incorporate a lot of that, but the big thing to recognize there is that she did use on the Blonde Ambition Tour. She used two members of House of Extravaganza, Jose and Luis Extravaganza. So on one hand, and I've seen controversy and criticism of like, well, she should have used more or whatever, but she elevated some people who were looking for a big career break, and she gave it to them. Dun, 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 dun. Videodrome says Truth or Dare was sort of about just Madonna, but it makes sense they'd have to do another documentary to give them more screen appreciation. Yeah, Giant Robots Conquer the World says Truth or Dare, the Madonna documentary. Yes, the one from '91 where we see her and we see Warren Beatty weirdly, which they were dating at the time. I think. Is that right? I think that's right. Anyway, so Truth or Dare, the documentary that was made at the time, and then the follow-up, Strike a Pose, that like catches up with the dancers and like, where have they been and what have they been doing? And Andrew says, are you aware of the current debate in the D&D community? Yes, about racist depictions of species in the crypto racist terms. I am. Anything to give opportunities for less racism in any context, I think, is good. So anyway, I opened up these tabs about Mart Crowley and Boys in the Band a little earlier, so let's check that out. Oh boy, this headline. Mart Crowley, author of The Boys in the Band, a controversial subject is explored off-Broadway. And so the article, this is from 68. It says, he wrote a play that just about everyone said couldn't be done. And now the frail little chap is basking in that long-longed-for limelight. I'm a pretty popular person these days, he chirps in offbeat sing-song. It's lovely. This is amazing. This article describes it as a sad, funny caper. There are a lot of words I'd use to describe the Boys in the Band. Caper is not one of them, particularly if we're using the older definition. He says he's not out to become the spokesman for the homosexual. He's working on another play about homosexual relationships. Oh, interesting. So he says that homosexuality had always been used as a sensational disclosure in a play, the great surprise. The person always ended up hanging himself or sticking a revolver in his trap and calling it quits. Yikes. I mean, so that is definitely like something that I've observed from like, there was a period on reality shows when that was always like, I've got a terrible secret. And like a few episodes into the season, like in the 90s on The Real World, that would often happen. Like, I've got a terrible secret. Can I tell you? I'm gay. And it was like the big reveal. And so I get why, for him, he just wanted to write about a bunch of people who were just like gay from the outset. Yeah, he says the play was written about self-destruction and how you can stand in your own way of achieving anything. But we were talking specifically, I think, was it Torridon saying about the protests? Protest. Let's see if there's anything about that. Extending my search parameters here from 68 to 70. Yeah, I'm not seeing a ton of news coverage about it. About the protests of Boys in the Band. I'm just seeing the term, boys and band close to other protests. I mean, so here's one from Atlanta Journal-Constitution from 1970. Boys in the Band, a timely play. Oh, and Brian Jeffrey BB, thank you so much for the amazing tip. Thank you so much for your generosity. I'm so happy to have you here in the chat and as a follower over on Patreon, and for the materials that you send me, the research materials that you send me from time to time. Happy 4th and all it applies to. Thank you. Happy 4th of July is a holiday, and happy 4th of July is just a day to everyone internationally and folks who are not interested in it as a holiday. But thank you, thank you. I help on my stationary exercise bike while watching these. Thanks for the entertainment. Yeah, I'm glad that I can keep you entertained and engaged. Keep pedaling. Am I like your like workout? What do they call those things? The people on the bike who like shouts at you to pedal faster? Peloton leader? I don't know. I'm your coach. I'm your workout trainer. I was gonna say bicycle chief. That's definitely not a name for that. Tomer says, the footage I saw was about protests against cruising, not Boys in the Band. Oh, okay, maybe I got them mixed up. Yeah, so definitely lots of protests against cruising. I don't think Boys in the Band got the same thing, the same response. I'm just listening. So this is a letter to the editor about how Boys in the Band is a timely play, comparing it to Ibsen's A Doll's House, which is an interesting comparison, but I can see it. Every unhappy family is different, and is unhappy in its own special way. Is that A Doll's House? A Doll's House, right? Every unhappy family. No, it absolutely isn't. It's Anna Karenina, not at all A Doll's House. Alliance Theater Artistic Director Michael Howard has done a valid service in presenting Boys in the Band. Blah, blah, blah. Few timid public officials. I guess there was a backlash to it happening that he's referring to, but I don't know what it is, because it's just a letter to the editor. Oh, the Board of Governors of the Atlanta Arts Alliance have shown so little leadership in this controversial situation. They've half backed up, half backing out of decision. What was the decision? That's fascinating. I wonder what happened. So a lot of coverage of author's candor in first play reaps rewards. We have some biographical background on Mort Crowley, which is very nice. Yeah, so most of these are just like, what I'm seeing for coverage for Boys in the Band is mostly just like little profiles on Mort Crowley's life. Boop, 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 Boys in the Band. Let's see. And then also some totally unrelated coverage of other stuff. Here's something from 1970. Oh no, this is about Boys in the Band. Boys in the Band, a film starring original New York cast. Screenplay, blah, blah, blah. Oh, so here's a long, long review of it. Okay, this is really interesting. So I may just dive deeper into this coverage. Torden, thank you, or sorry, Tomer, thank you for pointing this out to me. There's a lot of, it's not necessarily about protests, but there does seem to be a lot that was written about it, like think pieces basically from the late 60s, early 70s. Yes, I mean, yes, giant robots. I'm the bicycle overlord. The cycle pooba. I don't know about that. Sounds weird. Blondie says there's a great documentary on Boys in the Band. Is there? I'm sure. Boys in the Band. Documentary? I must have heard of it. What? This is... oh. Gotta put that in quotes, because it's instead giving me a documentary about boy bands. Let's see. So I'm seeing a YouTube video. Okay, the making of the Boys in the Band. Blah, 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 blah. The making of the Boys in the Band. An in-depth look at the creation of the groundbreaking play and film that dramatized the complex... Okay, well... I mean, I gotta check this out. The making of the... I guess the title of it is The Making of the Boys in the Band. Is it available to watch? It looks like Tribeca All Access might have it. Oh, or is it just called Making the Boys? Maybe that's it. Yes. Okay, there it is. Watch Making the Boys. Is it okay? It's unavailable to watch in your location. So I just got to figure out. Yeah, I can watch the trailer anywhere I like, but yeah, from first one features. Yeah, but where do I see it? Trailer. Reviews, play dates. Yeah, so played widely in 2010 and 2011. Where can I watch it online? Apathy says, I miss leather bars. Maybe I'll watch Cruising today. Al Pacino dancing like Elaine Bent. Yes! Yes, that dance. That crazy, crazy dance that he does. Ah, I love it. And it is funny what you're saying, Bob, about how the cycle goes from protest-worthy to high camp. Oops, I just switched over to, kids. Yeah, so I'm just checking to see if Making the Boys is on Netflix. Making the Boys. Nope. We do have the Untold Tales of Armistead Maupin, which is a great documentary I recommend. I watched that here in the Queer Film Festival that Seattle does that changes its name every couple of years, so I don't even remember what film festival it was. But I watched Untold Tales of Armistead Maupin. That's on Netflix. I recommend that one. It's very good. I'm just closing out tabs and landed on Bat Boy the Musical again. Mina says, if you go on Rotten Tomatoes, you can usually find reviews of a film's digital release. Sometimes I read ones for fun. Now, let's see. Rotten Tomatoes. Will that tell me where to watch this gosh darn documentary? Making the Boys. Because I would love, like, for sure, if I'm going to do a making, eventually, a Boys in the Band video, you know, of course, I'd love to include research from this documentary. If somebody has already done a whole bunch of research about it for me, that would be awesome. That's just interesting. It says it's available to watch on Netflix, but I just checked and it wasn't. And now it also says on Rotten Tomatoes it's available on iTunes, but we'll see about that. Videodrum says, I wouldn't rush out, on the other hand, or defend William Friedkin since his The Guardian and 92 Tales from the Crypt episode had absurdly long scenes. Oh no, of a woman being viciously attacked. I mean, I don't know if anybody's rushing to defend him. I mean, he made some important movies. Let's put it that way. Yeah, item not available on iTunes. Item you've requested not currently available in the U.S. store. Never mind then. This is so frustrating when you run into one of these where you're like, oh, this is an important work. Like, surely it's available someplace. And it's just, nope, not at all. Yeah, Ingy Bingy says, do you use a VPN? I know where you're going with that. And sometimes when I either have to download something I'm not supposed to download for research, obviously, you know, a lot of my Culture Cruise videos incorporate research from sources that are hard to obtain. So, you know, I just got to go wherever I can to get them. So I do occasionally use a VPN. Making the Boys very suspect title in browser history. I guess that's true, Mixtory. Blondie says, I got Netflix way back the day as a baby gay. Oh, just so frustrating when things just disappear. Let's see, Making the Boys documentary. We can find, it had a Facebook page, so maybe. Blah, 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 blah. First run films, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Hard to find. If I remember the Boys in the Band criticism right, even if it was more think pieces than protest, some people believe the image, yes, of bitchy and self-loathing characters belonged in a pre-Stonewall era. I mean, the thing is, though, is that we still, to this day, all know people like those guys. Bookworm says, hello and good day to you. Just wanted to wish you a happy 4th and hope you're keeping safe. Thank you. Happy 4th and hope you're keeping safe too. Um, Ingy Bingy says, what's your favorite Schwarzenegger movie? That's a tough one. I don't know of any. I mean, I guess the Terminator's pretty good. I'm trying to think of, like, I don't really have, like, intense, warm feelings for Arnold Schwarzenegger films. I've never even seen Twins, but I just want to cite either Twins or, oh shoot, what's the one where he's pregnant? Just because they're so weird? Junior, that's the name of it. Videodrome says there might be one website that seems to have almost everything on a 100% free streaming place. They're about foreign films, though. Yeah, I mean, if you can find that documentary someplace, please send me a link. It's available on Prime, says Brian. Wait, was it? I just looked. Oh, wait, maybe it's some sort of, like, territory thing? Prime Video. Yeah, Amazon Prime Video. Because I just looked and said it's not available in your location. Let's see. Making the Boys. That's fascinating, Brian. If it's available, I wonder, is it available for you and not for me? Because I can watch the trailer and I can add it to my watch list, but then it says the video is currently unavailable to watch in your location. So usually those things happen, those things are set by country, and I'm pretty sure we're in the same country. Starship Troopers was about his last film in Hollywood. He went back to Holland after. Wait, we switched from. I think we switched from one director to another. Are we talking about Paul Verhoeven now? Kindergarten Cop Videodrum says kind of homophobic, but much more charming than the Problem Child franchise. I adore Twins. Not a perfect movie, but a lot of fun. Oh, and Tom brings up Total Recall. That's a lot of LGBT subtext. I mean, I'm willing to entertain that idea, maybe. I can't immediately think of it. I guess, like, it's this terrible secret about yourself that you don't even want to admit. Like, if that's the way we're going with the LGBT subtext, I feel like that might be a little bit of a stretch, especially because, like, all the stuff in that character's head is, like, horrible secrets that he's been forced to. Okay, you know what? I guess I can see, like, someone has forced him to deny his reality about himself, and he's trying to figure himself out. I guess I can see it. Not, I think, what they were going for with the film, but I can see it. Well, let me turn up the classical music. It's gotten a little quiet, and for some reason it's Christmassy now. But I don't object to something a little Christmassy. It's Christmas in July. What else? What are some other things that I did not manage to include from Paris is Burning? Let's see. We definitely got, oh yeah, the documentary that spotlights the dancers. I mean, one thing I noted about that is that a lot of the slang from Paris is Burning is came into popular use, like throwing shade and reading and all that stuff. Like, they have whole sections on that. The format of balls, in popular use. But one thing that isn't is mopping. Like, there's a whole section on mopping in the documentary, and I don't really hear that term used anymore. It's basically just like shoplifting. And I'm just curious why that is. Maybe because it's not as fun as shade? I don't know. But why don't we say mopping like we used to? Is this Christmassy? Like, Mina, like, what song is this actually? I'm not sure why I have a Christmassy association with this. James, is there any reason for this to be Christmassy? Da, 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 da. It's the song that goes. Wait, hold on. I can't sing it while it's happening. Da 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 da. Yeah. Okay. It's the Nutcracker Suite. It's a Christmas song. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Mixtery says, "Is that not Swan Lake?" No, it's the Nutcracker. Kevin says, "Do you miss Kevin Universe? Do you miss Steven Universe as much as I do? And have you heard about any possible Rebecca Sugar projects upcoming?" I mean, I definitely heard that she was going to take it easy for a while, which I think she's earned. So I'm not like, "Come on, Rebecca, get back to work." Yeah, I don't know. I don't know of anything that she's doing these days. And I think it's also in, I think the association that I most immediately have is from Fantasia. I believe there's a segment in Fantasia where it's a bunch of like fairies or something skating on the ice. Oh boy. Tom Jenkins, you can go look for that on your own. Triple X parody of Nutcracker. How dare you? Let's see, what's something else? More stuff in Paris is Burning. Yeah, I've been thinking that like the next thing I might tackle is, now I've done The Queen and Paris is Burning, is Pose and Legendary, which, basically are following up. They're not exactly taking the mantle, but it's the next thing after those. It's contemporary, modern day is what we how we depict ballroom today. So I think that might be my next one for July. So I'm just gathering together and looking at the research for that now and figuring out exactly what shape that might take if I do that. Oh wait, Andrew says that link is to the Boys in the Band documentary, but here's the terrible part. YouTube does not allow, and I can't figure out how to allow this, links in the chat from anyone other than me. So you'll have to send it to me on Twitter. If you tweet it at me or send me a DM, then I'll be able to see the link. Joan says, you did mention those in the video. Yes, I did. They came up at the end, but I think giving them a little bit more time and talking about like the history around them and the making of them, the production, and what makes those shows special and unique, I think would be good. It's also, that would be the most recent media I've talked about. So yeah, Andrew Mont, please send me that link on Twitter or email or something or whatever. But it won't. Frustratingly, YouTube won't let me see the links that you post. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I can put you in a timeout or remove your comment, but I can't actually see the link. Can't you put parentheses around the periods? Do you mean like around the time periods? Oh, and they won't be recognized as links. Oh, I guess, yeah, you could obscure the URL. So whatever works to obscure that URL so YouTube will actually let you share it with me. I would love to see that link, Andrew. Oh, thank you. I just saw you sent it to me over on Facebook, so perfect. Oh, check that out. And it's on YouTube. Okay, great. Ingy Bingy says, will we ever see stories about real gay athletes in anything like a culture cruise? I mean, that's an interesting idea. That's not something that I had thought about, but that's definitely, I guess, a possibility. Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, now bundled together. It's playing a lot of ads. Yikes. Stop it. Yeah, honestly, maybe I know there's like a Greg Louganis documentary. That might be an interesting thing to look at. As a lens into LGBTQ athletes, because obviously he was a big deal. Let's see. I think Breaking the Waves was the title of the book. Documentary. Oh, Back on Board is the title of the documentary. I think Breaking the Waves was the name of his book. Yeah, that came out in 2014. That might be an interesting thing for me to talk about, is his whole history and how queer athletes have been depicted in media. I need to do a bunch of research to really get the full picture, the whole context of that. Oh, Apathy says, Paris is Burning was one of my biggest renters. I owned a tiny video store in Boulder in the 90s. Good video. My #1 rental was Fist of Legend with Jet Li. I mean, that's also pretty good. Oh, video stores. Fondly I recall video stores. We still have a good one here in Seattle called Scarecrow, but obviously nobody can go to stores these days. Good movie to seek out as a chaser to Paris is Burning and from a black filmmaker is Death by Temptation. Oh, what is that? Death by Temptation. There's also, of course, Tongues Untied by Marlon Riggs. Death by Temptation. What is this? This can't possibly be. No, I guess it is. I'm just looking at it closer. An American comedy horror film written, produced, and directed by James Bond III, starring Samuel L. Jackson. I've never heard of this, but this sounds incredible. A succubus seeking blood and vengeance against any and all men foolish enough to be tempted by her. Fascinating. Directed by James Bond III. There is no Wikipedia information about James Bond III. What is the deal with that person? Okay, I'm gonna have to do a lot more research on that. That looks amazing. Oh yeah, Mixery. The length of time it took Greg Louganis to get on the cereal box. Yeah. Rachel says has to go. Thank you for letting me be part of your live stream. Glad you could join us. Congratulations on coming out. I'm very happy for you. Yeah, hooray for being queer. Bob says look up Dave Copay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So Videodrome. I thought that it was a documentary you were talking about. It's not. It's a horror film. Look up Dave Copay. Okay. What's his deal? Dave Copay. And let's see, Dave Copay, former American football, blah, blah, blah. One of the first professional athletes to come out as gay. It's 1975. Whoa. Yeah, I guess that would have been before, I forgot his name, the guy who invented the high five. Shoot, anyway, that guy. I think he was like 76, 77. Ambassador to the Federation of Gay Games, featured announcer, leaving an endowment to the University of Washington Q Center. Well, good for him. Went on to work as a salesman purchaser of his uncle's floor covering business in Hollywood. That name reveals his brief affair with Jerry Smith, a football player who played for the Washington team who died of HIV. Blah, blah, blah. Interesting. Okay, so a lot of history there. I have to educate myself on to talk about that. He recommends Nick Zentner, a geologist in Washington State. I can't get enough of the guy. Oh, and Billie Jean King, of course. Mina, Billie Jean King. Gosh, yes. Blondie wants a documentary on the life of Me Too on Tandy Amon Dupree, drag queen of that famous ceiling drop into a split. Surprisingly little info on her life. Yeah, it's such an iconic entrance, and how much do we know about her? Very, very little. Like, just, common knowledge. I'm sure, like, the people who know her, who knew her, have a lot more information. Okay, I'm going to look up Nick Zentner, just so I don't forget. Like, he talks about Washington rocks. I'm always down for some extremely nerdy discussion of stuff. And then I think we're going to toss our chat over to the delightful Arson Nikki. She has just started streaming, so we might head on over to her. She's over on Twitch. But, of course, as always, thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you for your tips. And if you have not yet, check out my Sewers of Paris Check out my culture cruise about Paris is Burning. And also check out Sewers of Paris for conversations with queer folks about the entertainment that changed their lives. I had a really good one recently about classic films and The Simpsons with the lovely Dashiell Silva, who's working on a show for Netflix that's being produced by Hamish Steele, Dead India. And I had another good one with Mike Hughes, who writes for the Huffington Post and also has a documentary You're Wrong About. And Toma recommends Paris's Kiki about the same New York ballroom scenes now. Oh, that has totally escaped my attention. Paris is Kiki. I'm not seeing anything about that. Yeah, wait, Tomer, what is the title of it? Maybe that's not quite the title about the same New York ballroom scenes, because literally nothing about that online. And of course, Apathy and Videodrome recommend Greg Araki. Yes, well, yes, naturally. Yeah, so definitely, if you have not yet, check out that Culture Cruise about Paris is Burning. Check out Sewers of Paris for lovely podcast listening about LGBTQ entertainment moments. And check out my show, Queens of Adventure. Oh, it's just called Kiki. Okay. Okay, yes. Oh, yes. Okay, I'm seeing it now. And it's streaming on Hulu. What do you know? Groundbreaking. A movie that is available to watch on the internet. Uh, Amazing. So yeah, check out my show, Queens of Adventure. That's a bit different. It's a show featuring drag queens playing Dungeons and Dragons, going on adventures, saving the world, full of death drops and death saves and daring do to die for. And you can get that at queensofadventure.com. It includes one of our cast members, the delightful Arseniki, a local drag performer of some renown here in Seattle, who has started doing some live streaming on Twitch. And she's super entertaining, and I think we're going to hop on over to see her in just a moment. Let me put a link in the chat, because I think it will let me, to Arson's channel. I'll make sure I have it correct this time. Twitch.tv/Arseniki. Bloop. Bloop. Okay, so we'll send folks over to Arson over on Twitch. I'm just posting our link in the chat right now. Oh, and Kitty Mommy recommends My House on Viceland. Check that out. Yes, a reality series about ball culture in New York. Featuring interesting, a Mizrahi and a Balenciaga, and premiered on Viceland in 2018. 10 episodes. Interesting. Upload to YouTube. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to look deeper into that as well. Oh, very interesting. Produced by Spike Jonze. Huh. Yeah, I was like the same Spike Jonze, but yeah, Spike Jonze, the being John Malkovich guy. That's really interesting. Anyway, ciao, it's been a blast as Bob, and buying all that says Apathy. If we're doing last minute recommendations, Disclosure on Netflix, yes. Watch Disclosure on Netflix. And yeah, that'll just about do it for this week's live stream. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We're going to hop on over to that Arseniki chat in just a moment. And of course, thank you to everyone for your tips, and thank you for your support on Patreon. I could not do this without you. So happy to have you joining and supporting and a part of my goofy little projects here. So hooray. Without any further ado, let's go join Arseniki, who is streaming. She's doing some makeup, and she's going to be playing some Tetris with subscribers. Woo! So let's go watch that. All right, everybody. I'll see you later. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
We've passed on all we